Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Crochet Crowd as well as my friends over at Joann.com. I'm your host Mikey. Well, you know what? We're moving on to week number 5. We've got this week and next week left in order to continue your blanket. Today we're going to fill in the other 2 sides with something completely unique, and I think you're going to love it. This whole technique is crocheters just love, and I have to say I love it too. So without further ado, let me tell you a little bit further about it, and then we're going to head on into the studio and then get started. So this particular idea, what we're going to be doing is that we're going to be making 2 separate panels that are not attached to the blanket for the very first time. And so we're going to be making 2 separate panels, and then using the whip stitch we're going to be able to sew. Don't worry, whip stitching is not a big deal, especially with this kind of blanket. You can get away with anything when it comes to whip stitching as far as I'm concerned. So it's completely amazing. So I think you're really going to like this particular technique. So you just have to do 2 of them, sew it to your particular blanket, and then you can meet me next week as we then do the final conclusion of your mystery. So without further ado, don't forget to post on our Facebook events page of your work in progress, and at any social media, use our hashtags of Handmade with Joann as well as the Crochet Crowd. And let's head on into the studio now and let's get started. This video has sound alerts added. When you hear this sound, it will be your signal that the segment is finishing up. Press stop and crochet the instructions, and then press play again to continue along in your project. So what we're going to have is that we're going to have panels that look like this before you do the twist to it in order to create the look that you see here. So what I'm recommending to you is that you're going to throw your project down onto a table or a very clean floor, and what you want to do is that you want to have the afghan just lay down as if it's not being stretched. Like when you go to stretch it, it'll relax back to where it should, and that's where the size that you want. So you'll notice in the instructions there's no row counts for how many rows that you need to do for this, because you have to match the length. So what I did for myself is that I did 1 complete panel just like this, and I laid it down on the floor without doing the braid. So don't do the braid first, and lay it down on the floor and just have it relaxed to like this one is. And then you're going to notice the distance from here all the way to the other side as you get all the way up. So let me just pull that up, and you will notice that it will match the height on the other side. So what you want to do is that you want to do both panels before you sew them together, because what you can do is that you will notice that you will have these lines that go straight across. So what I did is that I counted the number of lines that went across in the one panel before doing the braid, and then I did a second panel, and then I matched the amount of cross beams that go across. And because this blanket is equal to each other, is that one panel should be the equivalent to the other, and in my case it is, and it should be for you as well. So let me show you what this looks like here before doing the braid. So this is what one of the panels looks like before doing the braid. So you're going to see that it's single crocheted across, and then one time you're going to chain across, and then you're going to slip stitch across when you come back the other direction. So every one of these is actually the equivalent of 2 rows, so there and back. And so these are the ones that you want to count. So when you go to put your first panel down and you get to the exact size that's in relax, you want to count these out and then be able to do a second panel and count them out and match and make sure that they work. So this is what it looks like before it turns into the braid. So you want to do that before doing the braiding of any of them. Then what you're going to do is that you are going to then at the end of this, and I'll show you this later, but you're going to do a twist of the first one here. And let me just show you how it's done. So see this hand here? I'm going to grab it and twist it like this. Okay, so this one leading here is the one over. I don't think it really matters too much, to be honest with you, but that's what it's showing in the diagram to be accurate. And you're going to take the next one and you're going to feed it through that loop. So you don't twist any other ones, and you just keep working your way up, and you just kind of pull snug on it, and it's creating that braid that you see. So you can see at this point, once you create this braid, is that this whole panel that's really wide here actually compresses right down in to be much smaller. So if you're thinking when you're doing it, gee, it's a really big panel width wise, it's really not once you get the braid established. So what I'm going to do for you today is that I'm going to get you started on this section here. I'm going to show you how to finish it, and then I'm going to show you how to whip stitch it to your project with some tips with that as well. So let's begin to do that next. So let's get started. I'm just going to use a different color than what is the actual sample because it's easier to see it with a solid color. So you're going to begin to do with the slip knot. And what we need to do is that we need to chain 27. So let's begin to do that. So we just go 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and go all the way to 27 with me, and then I'll see you back here in just a moment. Once you have your 27 in, I want you to turn this and go second chain from the hook. So just go count back, so there's one, and just turn it so that you get the back loop of the second chain. And I want you to single crochet into that one and just single crochet. So this is gonna count as 1 of 8, and I'll explain that in a moment. So the next 7 are gonna be all single crochets. So you're gonna find with this particular panel you're gonna be counting. So that was 1, 2 and 3 and 4, 5, 6 and 7. So with the one that we went second chain from the hook plus the 7, it gives you a total count of 8. You got to remember that. So what we're going to do now, the next 10 that we're gonna run into now will all be slip stitches. So let's do that. So we just insert in and pull through and through. So we're making our crossbar. This is how we do it. So that was 1. So let's count those out together. So this is 2, 3, and I'm still working in the back loop only. This is 4, 5, 6 and 7, 8, 9 and 10. I think I'm all thumbs today. So we have then 10 slip stitches. So you notice that there's a thickness difference between this one and this one. So what we're gonna do then for the remaining 8 that are on here is that you're just gonna start into the next chain and single crochet yourself back to the other side. So let's count those out. So 1, and there should be 8. This is 2, 3, 4, that's 5, and the 6, 7 and 8, and that's it. Okay, so you just pull that slip knot tight. So this is what it's gonna look like right now. So you'll have a thinner middle and a thicker outside. So let's turn our work and do the next row. So every other row is gonna be like this. So you've already got a nice thickness cross beam here, so we have to create the next one. So we're gonna chain up 1 and we're gonna single crochet into the first 8. So starting in the first one, so we're gonna go 1, just count it, and 2 and 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. So you got your 8, and now we need to create another cross beam. So to do that we have to chain 10. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10. And what I like to do is that I count backward in the beginning when I'm learning this. Count back to the 8th one. So start at the first one all the way back over here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. Sometimes it's easier to count backward than it is to count forward to skip over the 10 that you had to. And you're gonna single crochet into that one plus all of the rest. So there's gonna be 8 in a row. So this is 2 and 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8, and you're all the way back. So let's turn our work and continue. So you'll see that this cross beam is not as thick as this one because we have to go across it twice. So we have to chain 10 first, and then we're gonna come back and finish it. So we chain up 1, the first 8 again, it will always be 8, is just single crochet. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. Now the next 10 will all be slip stitches into this chain. So starting in the first chain, just through and through. Okay, go to the next chain, and I like to count those as I was doing it. So this is 2, and we keep doing that. So 3, it's 4, it's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And then you're all the way back. And if you're unsure at all, count back. So the next one should be the one that we started next, but if you're not sure, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. See, the next one was. So then you just finish it off. So just the last 8. So 1 as single crochets, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So turn your work. So this is what it's gonna look like. So now to continue, then you're gonna then chain up 1, go across the first 8, then chain 10 and jump over 10. But if you're not sure, just count back the 8 and then single crochet in the next. Turn your work, chain 1, single crochet in the first 8, and then you're going to slip stitch in those 10 and then single crochet in the last 8 that you have. And you're gonna continue to do that until you have a large panel that matches the length of the blanket that you are working with. So what you wanna do is that you wanna lay it down beside the blanket and don't like overly stretch it. Let it relax just like you see here and let it work its way up. And then what I want you to do is do a second panel and just count the number of these cross beams so that both panels are absolutely identical to each other, and then get prepared to do the braid then at that point and then be able to put it together. So what I need to do is that I'm gonna show you on the panel what happens to make the braid, and then I'm gonna show you how to secure the braid before attaching to the blanket, and that's next. So right now my panel is almost all the way complete. I have one more row to go on the top of it here, but the problem is that I got to make sure the last row secures all of the braiding into position, so I have to braid it first. So what I have to do is that I have to start at the bottom. So take this hand here and come and turn it over and grab the first bar. Okay, so grab the first bar and twist your hand back to normal. Okay, so let me try to show that to you. So turn your hand, grab that cross beam here that you see, and then turn there, and that'll create that cross loop that you see. So now you're just gonna work your way up, grabbing each one of these as you go and just feed it through. So the first one is the only one that needs to be twisted like this. The rest of them just comes in and feeds into the loop. And just pull snug on it as you go and just keep working your way all the way up your panel. This is fun. I love doing this. It doesn't last very long. It's a quick process, and I love this part of doing Jacob's ladder and these kind of step ladder ideas. So just do this all the way up your panel, and I'll see you at the top of the panel in just a moment. So while I'm doing this with you, what we want to do is that at some point you want to turn it over and make sure that you're not skipping any of the loops. If you accidentally skip a loop, let's just say I accidentally skip a loop right now and I continue and I get to the top. If I accidentally skip a loop, you're gonna see it on the back right here. Do you see that? So you want to make sure that you're not skipping any loops. I've done actual projects like that where I've skipped a loop during tutorial filming, and then I turned it over and then I was horrified. So make sure that you don't skip any of these loops going all the way to the top, and just occasionally just check it on the back and make sure that it's nice and closed at the back as well so that you don't skip anything. So just continue along and I will see you at the top of this panel. So I'm getting close to the top of the panel and I'm just coming to my last set here that I have, and that's it. So I have no more loops left to go into. I have checked the back end to make sure that there's nothing hanging. I have some loose ends, of course, when I was changing over yarn as well. I get rid of that. I bury my yarn as I go, so I'm good to cut right down to the wick. So let's turn it over, and now we're gonna finish the very last row, and they say to put something here to stop it from coming apart, but it really doesn't, so I wouldn't worry about trying to scramble to find anything. So what we're gonna do is that we're going to do our last pass across, and so we chain up 1 and we're going to single crochet in the first 8 like we had been all along. So 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Now you've run into the braid. So in the very last loop here, I want you to put 3 single crochets right into that loop itself. So go right into the loop and go 1, 2, and 3, into that loop, and then coming back, and if you're not sure, just count it back. So 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 and 8. Go to the 8th one that's back and single crochet the final 8. So 1 2 and 3, this is 4 5 6 7 and 8. So that's it. You're just gonna fasten off now, weaving your ends, and so this will never come out on you because you've just single crocheted across and you single crocheted right into the top of that loop, which will hold it permanently into position from now on forever. Okay, so just let's keep moving. So do both panels like this. Then once you get satisfied that they're both the same length, and the next part of this tutorial I'm gonna show you how to whip stitch this to your project. So the next part of today's tutorial is that we're going to sew the panel to the main section here. I've already done one side. So we have to turn it up so that the surface overlay is facing up. It's the right side facing up, and the braid here is facing up at the same time. So you want to make sure everything is in line, so don't put it so that the braid will be on the underside of the blanket. So what we want to do is that we want to stretch this out, and we want to lay down our panel so that it matches the end of here and the end of the other side. So what I'm going to recommend for you is that you're going to get some spare yarn, and that spare yarn is just going to be a stitch marker for you to be able to hold the stitches in the ends just like here. So let me get that for you next. So what we want to pay attention to first is that if this is your first one, just make sure you commit to the angle of the braid. So the braid was twisted here and then looped in. So when I go to start this one here, because it's on the same side, I want to make sure that the braid is also facing in the same direction. So the base one should be the one that's twisting and then braiding up into the rest. So using some spare yarn, because you would have had some from your tail ends, is that I want you to secure the end of this. So just go into the very last stitch here, and I want you to get to the very corner that you can find over here on this other blanket here, and I want you just to pull yarn through and just lock it into position. This will come out, so just pull through like so. So this will hold it to the end of here. So the goal is that you can move then to the other side, and you want to keep an eye on those as well. So let's lay this blanket down. I know that they already match off camera anyway, but I want to make sure that I'm just attaching this. So when you go to sew these into position, because these are attached at the end, it kind of keeps an idea, because if somehow that it's starting to buckle up on you because you're running out of stitches or whatever, you're gonna notice right away because you've got it secured on both sides. So it's just an extra precaution thing, and it just makes your life a lot easier. So when you go to stretch this out completely, what should happen, I know my table's small, but this whole panel should match each other as you work your way down the row. So let's now grab our yarn, and you want to make sure it's the same color as this panel here, and you want to make sure that it's almost not really double length of what you see here, but pretty close to it, and you just want to grab an extra long section so that you can just do one strand going all the way across. When you first start, it's a lot of strands to be able to pull through, but once you get going, it's a lot easier as well. So you're gonna take that strand and you're going to feed it through a darning needle just like this, and you're gonna just grab it to the other side, and you're gonna create a slip knot on this side. And what we want to do is that we want to start, and I like to when I use a darning needle, I like to go in this direction for myself. So I'm just gonna go right to where it's attached on the corner, going right in to the blue only. I'm gonna get rid of this white in just a moment, and I'm gonna go to where it's matching on the white on the other side, and just straight across, and I'm gonna pull through. Now what I want to do before I get too crazy about it is that this other loop here, I want to feed it through, and what that's gonna do, it's gonna lock it onto itself and pull it nice and snug, and you can get rid of that stitch marker now, because it's now that strand that you just put in is now gonna hold it. So here's my tips I have for you. So you're gonna come back to the blue, and you're gonna go straight across to the other one. Now because of the way this yarn is, it does hide it. So see, this is the straggler here. I want you to keep it down on the top of the line, so every time you go through this yarn will go right up over top of that strand and hide it in underneath. So once you do that, you come back to the blue, move down a little bit. So I'm moving almost every other row in this one here, if you want to look at it from that perspective. And then I just jump straight across into the other one, and then I pull. And I keep a hold of this straggler here for a little bit. So I come down, back to the blue, over to the other side. I try to grab at least 2 strands of yarn on the other side. And because it's nice and fluffy, it hides really well. And then I'm gonna let that straggler now. I'm gonna release it from its misery, get rid of it, and I'm gonna keep on going. So the goal is to keep matching each other, and if you see it buckling it anyway, so if one of them starts doing this and you're running out of stitches on the one side, it means that you're being a little bit too conscious. You're rushing one side versus the other. So always keep an eye on the other side as you go to make sure that it's gonna match. So I'm gonna leave the rest of the whip stitching to you, and I'll see you at the end of the whip stitching, and I'll show you how to fasten off your yarn at that time. So when you get to the end, you're just gonna have your last stitch marker out. You might as well remove it because you have most of it done. I just got kind of one more pass to go across. So I'm just gonna go across my final time right into the corner and just get everything looking good. So what I want to do is that I want to tie this off here. So I'm just gonna go back through the project. Just keep it nice and close. And I want to go and make a loop and pull through. And then I want to do that one more time just to make sure that I get it in there. So what I'm gonna do then with the remaining end is that I want to just pass it through the project 3 times. So go across once, go across twice, and 3rd time is a charm. So what you have to do is you have to sew both of your panels on, and then you're gonna be ready then for week number 6 as we then do the final conclusion for your mystery. And so everything needs to be done at this particular point. I would probably strongly recommend, if you haven't done so already, get your weaving your tail ends and etc. so that you can start doing the border work in week number 6 so that you can have a nice fresh start. So this is what it looks like here. Nice seam here, beautiful seam here, and then that's it. So make sure you do both sides to your project just like you see here, and it will be awesome. So I'll see you again next week, same time, same channel, and have a great week, and we'll see you then. Bye-bye. So that's it for now. You've got it sewn together. That is going to be it. We are going to meet you next week. We're going to do the final conclusion, and it's going to tie everything together, and then you're going to be able to give it away as a gift. Keep it for yourself, and think about Christmas and all that stuff. You got a nice gift on the way to being completed. So until next time, join me here. Make sure that you post any of your work in progress on our events pages. Any social media, of course, you can use the hashtag of Handmade with Joanne, as well as the Crochet Crowd. And without further ado, we'll see you again next week, same time, right here.